Hi, so today I'm talking about not one but two free plugins, and they are not your box standard EQ or compressor or tape emulation or something like that, but I bet these are plugins which you do not have in your collection yet. So let's go! Yeah, so the free plugins that I'm going to talk to you about today are from a German company called Hofa. And let's have a look at their website. The first product on their website is a reverb, which, well, considering the price, I would say this is quite a high-end plugin. Must be very special, but I'm not going to talk about this one today. And they also have plugins like a limiter, something that looks like a transient designer. They have bundles, and they even have an audio engineering program called Hofa College that you can enroll to learn more about audio engineering. However, what I want to talk about today, if you go to products and go to freeware, you can see over here that they also have a number of free plugins. Hofa System Plugin Bundle, a Dynamic Tilt EQ, BlindTest EQ, ProjectTime, a meter fader and MS Pan plugin, and another meter. Now, most of these plugins we've probably seen before from other manufacturers as well, like plugins affecting sound, compressors, equalizers. There are many free and paid versions of those, but two plugins on this list I find very unique, so I want to talk about those. So let's first have a look at the ProjectTime plugin, because I have a little example project over here, and if we go to the mixer view in Cubase, you can see that I have it inserted over here on my master bus. And if I open that plugin, you can see a time display here. And this plugin basically tracks how much time you spend on a certain project. So if you do any commercial work, you can, for example, use it, well, to track how much time you spent on a project and see whether the time that you actually spent on the project matches any fixed price that you may have agreed for your project. Or if you are paid by the hour, you can use it to see how much time you spent on your project and how much you should invoice your client. But even in a non-commercial facility, you can just use it to see like how much time do I actually spend on a mix, on tracking. And maybe if you want to start mixing quicker, then this is a way to track if you are actually mixing quicker or if it takes as long as usual. Now, there are a couple of nice features in this free version of the plugin, of course. One is that you can stop the time by pushing the pause button, and then it blinks and the time no longer runs. You can activate the time again. Now, there's also a possibility to set the plugin that it only records time when you're actually playing back by using the transport, or when audio is passing through the channel which you have inserted the plugin on. And since it's on my master bus, basically whenever I play any audio through the master bus, it will record the time. You can also set a maximum time that you want to work on this project, and you can also set a budget or an hourly wage to track money. But all of those options at the bottom here are not available in the free version, unfortunately, but you have to pay for it. But what is available in the free version is that you can see a log of your registered time over here. Now, if you somehow forgot to enter time, you can also add a session for a certain time log. For example, you can say that you started yesterday at 6 o'clock and ended yesterday at 9 o'clock, and then you can see that it actually added an entry. You can also add a note, for example, that you spent yesterday on setup of the project, and you can export this time log to various formats, but again, only the text format works in the free version. For the other formats you have to pay. You can also copy the text to clipboard, and then, for example, paste it into Notepad on Windows. And you see that you have quite a detailed log of your time. Well, it's a utility plugin, of course, but it really comes in handy if you want to know how much time you spend on your projects. Now, before I move on to the second free Hofa plugin, if you like this video or find it useful at all, please give it a big thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm so that it gets shown to more people. Hit the subscribe button and the little bell if you want to know when I publish another video. And for even more support, you can use the super thanks button or the affiliate links to any of these stores if you want to buy anything there. Click the affiliate link first and I will get a small commission without any additional cost to you, which is always highly appreciated. But now on to the second free plugin that I want to talk about, which is the Hofa BlindTest plugin, which really comes in handy if you want to test other plugins or signal chains and want to get rid of any bias. For example, it's a well-known fact that if you just spend a lot of money on something and you're testing it, you automatically feel that it sounds better, right? It's only a natural bias that you get from spending money. But this BlindTest plugin allows you to form an independent, well, unbiased opinion, because you basically don't know what version of audio you're listening to. Whether you're listening to the audio with your new device, your new compressor or EQ, for example, or whether you're listening to the audio from a stock plugin or compressor. Let's have a look at how this actually works. Let's imagine that in this project I want to test whether I like the Pulsar 1178 better on drums as a compressor, or whether I like the UAD 1176 better on the drums as a compressor. Now, in order to test that, I've duplicated the drum channel over here and inserted an 1178 on one channel and an 1176 on the other channel. Let's open the mixer view so you can see that a bit better. The nice thing about the BlindTest plugin is now that you can add that as the last plugin on each channel. And you see that it now opens 2 instances, but you don't have to, because one instance basically sees both tracks that you inserted the plugin on. And let's now, for example, listen to only those drums. And when you push solo on the plugin, it basically only plays that channel and all the other BlindTest plugins mute the channel. For example, now you're listening to the drum track with the 1178 on there. And if I switch, you're listening to the drum track with the 1176 on there. And you can also switch it up by pushing this button. But obviously this is not really a blind test because you know which channel is which, and you can just do this with the normal solo buttons in Cubase. However, this plugin also allows you to make it a blind test by pushing the start button over here. And it has now randomized the tracks, and you can now click on solo of number 1 and then of number 2, and then listen to which one you like better without knowing which one you're listening to. And in order for that to work, you kind of have to hide the mixer here, of course. So you can put this on top of the mixer so that you don't see that. Or what you can also do, this plugin allows you to have 2 sizes. So you can basically make it full screen if you want to, so that it blocks everything. And you can go back to size 1 to have the original size and still see your channels in your mixer. But let's just block it like this and listen for a bit. Now what you may have noticed is that the second track is actually louder. So it's hard to compare them because we typically favor something that's louder compared to something that's more quiet. But the plugin also has a possibility to compensate for that. If we go back for it to show the tracks, you can see in the settings that you can also show EBU loudness for the tracks. And let's put the plugin up here again. And now it can analyze the loudness of these 2 channels. If we play something, and we can now compensate for those loudness differences. And if we now switch between those channels, they are equally loud. So now we can start our blind test again. However, maybe you do not want to do one round of testing, but you want to do a series of testing and then see which one you preferred over a number of different comparisons. You can set it up as well. If we show the tracks again, you can go to settings, round mode, series, and you can see that it will now do a series of 5 tests, but let's make that a little bit lower actually. Let's make it 3 tests. And if I now start a comparison, put this over the channel so I can't see which is which, I can now start listening for the first round. And for example, maybe I like this better than this one over here. I can say go to next round. It switches them up again or not. You basically don't know. Do another test. I still prefer the first one now. Go to the next round. I still prefer the first one. And you can then show the results of your tests. And you can basically see that on this drum track, I preferred the 1178 over the 1176. You can also show the stats of your tests. So for the various rounds, you can see that on each round, I preferred the 1178 over the 1176. So if you want to do any unbiased testing of new plugins, audio gear, whatever you want, I think this is really the plugin to use, so that you can really discern how something sounds and not how something looks, for example, or whether you paid more or less money for it. So what do you think? Did you know about these plugins already? Are you using them already? Do you have other plugins like them in your arsenal maybe? let me know in the comments. Now, if you like free plugins like this, I have a whole series about free plugins that I really enjoy and that I find really special, and I'll link that up here. So check it out, enjoy, and see you soon.